All right, so let's get started with our 7 sessions. Basically, we'll have a quick recap of our previous session, and then as we covered an operator in URL in our previous session, we'll try to do furthermore tidy on how exactly this in URL is working and how basically the URL of a web results are been defined or formatted, and then how to leverage command operators like in title and in text while sourcing on a Google. So let me just take a note records. So basically, how many in Google, like how many different types of format will show us in a search result? Okay, so we get basically a 3 different types of format in a search output. That is URL part of output, then title part of output, and text part of output. Something like if you search for Java, then we have a 3 different output. Like this is the one which is a URL part. This is the one which is a title part, and then this is the one which is a text part. We pretty much covered in our previous session about the types of outputs. And then a couple of thumb rules for using in URL. So thumb rules for using command operator in URL. What are the thumb rules? Rule number 1, while using in URL, every alphabet has to be in a small letter because again, that's a case sensitive. Remember, always operators are case sensitive, but not keywords. And then rule number 2, while using in URL, there should not be any space between keywords. The reason because there is no URL on the whole World Wide Web which has a space. Technically not possible unless space is hidden with some special character. So today we'll cover why there can't be any space. And then rule number 3, while using in URL, there should not be any space between in URL and this double colon, semicolon. Like if you see here, generally what happens while we write this particular strings, we might end up in doing some of the errors or just as a typo error, basically, where we give in URL, then space, semicolon, and then Java, or in URL, semicolon, space, Java. So when we use this kind of a thing, then it would understand in URL also as a keyword, but not as a command operator. Something like last time we tried. So when we just search for in URL space colon Java. So this is also highlighting URL as well. This is also highlighting Java, both the words Java and the URL, Java and then URL. So basically both the words are understood by Google as a keywords, but not necessary as an operator. Operator in the sense as a command where we're giving a strong command to Google saying that I want this particular Java keyword only in the URLs, but not in the so it could be anywhere. But now if you see here in URL space and then semicolon Java, we could see this is working as a basically a text search. In URL is one particular word as well, Java is one particular word. So that's reason like URL and Java is getting kind of a highlighted. But when we exchange this with something like this. Then we started getting a word where now it is started taking that as a command, where if we go to some of the last pages also, we would see that this particular word Java would be there in the URLs of the particular links. Let's, if you visit here also, some of the last pages. So here we'll have a Java. Okay, it just got changed, but otherwise you still have a Java in the URL. Let's take this. So okay, here we have a Java. And again, here also we have a Java. That means we are giving the strong command to Google saying that get me this result where Java is appearing basically in the URL. It could also appear anywhere else also in the title, in the text. But the first command, which is strong, where we're telling Google that get me this particular word Java in a URL. And that's where even if you go to any of the last results also, every result has a Java word in the URL format. And then you scroll down. So that's pretty much about the previous session, what we covered about how is that inurl is working. Then we just thought why there can't be a space while using inurl. So that's reason I just thought of, okay, let's dive deep on understanding how this URL format is being constructed. Now let's take an example of LinkedIn itself. Let's go to LinkedIn homepage. So here it is, quick recap, and then dive deep on a command operator in URL and how URL is defined or formatted or constructed. All right. So let's take an example for LinkedIn itself. So when we go to LinkedIn or any such similar site, what it is, if I say linkedin.com is one particular folder, okay, a main folder. So now if you see the folders and then subfolders, when we say linkedin.com is a folder and then /feed / is a by default format as soon as we log in, so that we get into this set of feeds where we can see all the various feeds, and then we can see a tab about little about ourselves, who viewed your profile, impressions of your post, and then a couple of post related or the groups related stuff, and then recent groups that have been visited or the events or the following hashtags, all those. Just the overall high level brief about my own LinkedIn profile. So as soon as I click on my network, then it changes to linkedin.com / my network. As soon as I click on connections, it changes to linkedin.com my network. That means first linkedin.com is a main folder, my network is a second folder, and under that my network, it's a invite, connect, and the connections. Now if I again go back, if I click on contacts, again it becomes linkedin.com / my network / import -contacts / saved contact. So here I have a various types of contact, either the imported contacts or the saved contacts. Let's say if I just go uploaded contacts, and again import contacts, saved contacts. Let's say if we see other contacts. So this is under the application itself, under the one page application. So that's reason it's not changing. But otherwise, now let's say again come on a home. Now again, if I go for my network, connections, people I follow, let's say groups. So it becomes linkedin.com / groups. Similarly, if I click on jobs, so it becomes linkedin.com / jobs. Again, if I go notifications, it becomes linkedin.com / notifications. Again, we'll come back. So we'll go to some of the groups, let's say. So again, it goes linkedin.com groups, and then there's some numeric number given to every group, that numeric number. Let's again come back home. So it's more of, let's say, if we are creating a folder named LinkedIn. Now, under this folder, we open a folder. We say that, okay, under LinkedIn, I need a folder which has a LinkedIn profiles. LinkedIn profiles. So this is one folder. Now, under LinkedIn profiles, I would say I need an additional profiles, SDE profiles. Under SD profiles, I would say I would need SDE entry level profiles or SDE freshers. So now if you see the whole link, how it has got formatted, let me, okay, now let me go for SD freshers. So a main folder, linkedin.com. After that, we had a subfolder that is a LinkedIn profiles. Then again, we had a subfolder that is SD profiles. Again, we had a subfolder that is SD freshers. Now let's say again, if I go to linkedin.com, backing to the linkedin.com. So again, we create one under LinkedIn profiles. I would say network profiles. In the network profiles, I would say past employees or past colleagues. Under past colleagues, I would say recruiters. Recruiting friends, I would say sourcing friends. I would say HR BP friends. All right. So now let's say if I just go to sourcing friends. Now if you see here, it's getting formatted in such a way, linkedin.com /network profiles / past employees or past friends and / sourcing friends. So the same pattern. Now when I host this linkedin.com, this folder, when I host this complete folder to GitHub or to World Wide Web, what happens is these folders are constructing a link. Basically, these folders are constructing a address. So when it is constructing an address, so it's more or less like, let's say, if you want to identify my address, or let's say, how is our own physical address is been identified. First, it is identified as a country, which I would say one folder. Then under one particular folder, a particular state. Under one particular state, a particular city. Under one particular city, a zip code. And again under the zip code, one particular area. Under one particular area, one particular layout. Under that one particular layout, one particular house number or plot number, whatever. So that's how basically our own addresses in physical terms or in a layman term, that's basically that is how basically our own address is linked or defined. So similarly, when it goes to the web, what happens is it goes from main folder to subfolder to subfolder to subfolder. And while creating this link from main folder, so now again under linkedin.com, we have two different types of links. Either we go for LinkedIn profiles or come back, we go for networking profiles. When I go for networking profiles, again, we have past employees. This is one other link. And again, past employees, we have three different links, either HRBP or recruiting friends or sourcing friends. If I click on recruiting friends, this is how it is getting constructed. So similarly, what happens, whatever the links we are seeing over here, as soon as we host it to the World Wide Web, what happens is that particular URL link gets generated. And hence, there is no World Wide Web where we see a URL where it is a space is existing. There is no URL on the entire World Wide Web where there is a space existing, because technically it is not possible. Now let's say in main linkedin.com, we write some code, and after that we get into the LinkedIn profiles. Again, we write some codes. After that we get into the SD profiles. Again, we write some codes. After that we get into the SD fresher profiles. We write some code. So when we are hosting it, the link is also going same as it is. Only the difference would be here what we have is kind of a forward arrow mark, but wherein in a while it's getting hosted, what happens is it would be more of like linkedin.com / LinkedIn profiles. LinkedIn, and wherever we see space here, okay, now LinkedIn space profile, that space will be replaced by either hyphen or a /. So LinkedIn profiles. So again, this / is nothing but the subfolder. Now here we have a linkedin.com, and here this folder name is LinkedIn space profiles. So whatever the space is here, that space is getting exchanged by hyphen. And then as soon as we get into the next page or the next folder, again there's a / which is coming in. That is a path to the folder. Once I get to SD profiles, okay, so SDE, so this would be SDE hyphen profiles. Again, as soon as we go to the next folder, then that again becomes / SDE hyphen freshers. Similarly, let's say for the networking profiles, it's just in a layman language, just for our understanding, why there wouldn't be any space in a URL of any link across the World Wide Web, because this is the basic fact. So maybe in my desktop or maybe in a GitHub or any such coding platform, I'm generating those repositories. But as I'm keeping a repository under repository, repository under repository, something like folder under folder, as soon as I say, okay, fine, as soon as someone opens, let's say in another language, let's say we define, okay, fine, we wanted defining a path of that particular URLs. LinkedIn is a main folder. Someone comes to this folder, they should be able to see. Once someone clicks on, first they should be able to see the home page. Under the home page, they should be able to see these three different folder, something like, I would say here, networking profiles, networking is one folder, and then I would say SD is one folder. Just assume SD is one folder, networking is one folder, and then let's take two for now to keep it short and simple. SD in one folder. So under networking, I would say as soon as someone clicks on networking, it should be like, okay, under networking, there are three different types of network what I have. Recruiting friends, sourcing friends, and then HRBP friends. Similarly, under SD, I have something freshers. I have some mid-level, or let's say SD2. Here I would say SD1. Here I would say SD3. So here the link would be first linkedin.com/networking. If I have to create a link for this one. So now under recruiting friends, again, I have 3 different friends. Again, under sourcing friends, again, I have 3 different sourcing friends. And again, HRBP friends, I have 3 different sourcing HRBP friends. Let's say now under recruiting friends, I would say one person is Shiv Gurram. One person is Rajpal. And then one person is, let's say, my manager, Priyanka Shetty. So this becomes one folder. So let me just color code it. Then now this becomes another folder. Let's take, here I have 1, 2, and 3. And then this becomes one more folder. Let's say, okay, 1, 2, 3. So maybe 1, 2, and 3. So this would be, if I have to go from here to here, it would be more or less like linkedin.com/networking/recruiting hyphen. This space would become hyphen friends / Now let's say if I have to go to Rajpal, it would become Raj hyphen like this. So that is for Rajpal. So similarly for Shivguram, it would be more or less like same. The path would be same, but instead of here Rajpal, it would be Shiv hyphen Guram. Similarly for Priyanka Shetty, it would be almost the same link, same path. It's just that the last part would become Priyanka hyphen Shetty. Now similarly, if we have to go for HRBP, let me assume same names. Can anyone wanted to define a link here?
Can I try Shiv?
Yeah, sure.
LinkedIn.com
Super.
/networking.
/.
Yeah, /networking.
Awesome.
/HRBP hyphen friends. / for whose name? Can I say Priyanka?
Anyone.
Okay,
Anyone.
Raj.
Let's say here for me, for Shivkuram, then after that Priyanka Raj, after that Priyanka Shetty will go.
Okay. So H
This
forward
would be
slash Shiv
hmm?
hyphen Gurum.
Awesome. Similarly for Rajpal,
Yeah, only the name change.
only
So
the first name hyphen last name.
last name, yeah.
And similarly for Priyanka Shetty, it would be first name hyphen last name.
Last name, yeah.
Right. So that's about the formation of a URLs. In the process of formation of a URL, and any URL which is basically a case sensitive, if you see another close observation, no URL has a words in a capital letter. As soon as we host it to a World Wide Web, whatever this capital alphabets are there, R here in Rajpal case R and P, that would become normally a small r and small p. Okay, and the space of name of the or the title of the folder or name of the folder, where let's say here we have seen in this case network profiles. So network profiles, this is basically a title of the folder or the name of the folder. So in that case, what happens, that space would be replaced by hyphen, and once we go from folder to folder, it becomes forward slash. So here it would be linkedin.com forward slash network hyphen profiles forward slash past hyphen employees forward slash HRBP hyphen friends. So let's say here in this LinkedIn profile SD. So this case here would be, so L is again here a capital, but ideally it should be small. So similarly, okay, can anyone try for this? Shravan, you had one problem statement in past about the space.
Hello.
Yeah, would you like to try for this? What would be the URL for this?
Okay. Site link. I mean LinkedIn.com.
Just give me a second. No, just the URL, not X-ray search, just the URL. How the just assume that how the URL can be constructed for this path to reach till HRBP friends from LinkedIn.com.
Okay. Which is quite similar to the above footer that you have added, just slash forward slash, and in case of spaces, a negative mark.
Hyphen, you mean to say?
Yep. Yeah.
Can you just spell it? I'll just type it here.
Okay. LinkedIn slash. Okay, it's on .com.
Let's assume a case that we have hosted so that it become either a .com or .in or whatever. After the hosting, once we host, that's where this .com .in things would come. Till the time we won't host it, till the time it is there on our desktop, it would be still a LinkedIn. But once we host it, either it would be a .com .in or some URL pattern. So let's assume in this case that will become a .com. Now,
yeah, forward slash. Small network hyphen profiles forward slash past employees past hyphen employees forward slash HRBP hyphen friends.
Awesome. That's how it is. And once now we know how is this URL is getting constructed or how this URL is getting formatted as soon as it gets posted to the World Wide Web, then we can also try to leverage those URL formats in our Google searches. Okay, any questions, any doubts on how is this URL is getting formatted or constructed or created while any website gets hosted to World Wide Web? Something like, let's go with Capgemini. As soon as I click on Capgemini, it becomes .com here. Let's say we click on, so under Capgemini folder, under main folder, we have a subfolders: insights, industries, services, careers, news, about us. Now let's say we go to insights. So that becomes Capgemini/insights. Now here we have about spacers, that is one folder where we have a space. Now let's see how this space is getting formatted when we go to about us. So now if you see here, capgemini.com/about-space. So that space is replacing by hyphen. Wherein if we go to some other things, let's say services. So it's capgemini.com/services. Now under services, let's say data and artificial intelligence. So data and artificial intelligence is one of the folder under capgemini.com. That becomes capgemini.com services /. So the folder name was data and AI. That becomes data hyphen and hyphen AI. That space has become this thing. Now let's say transform your organization. So wherever we see space, transform hyphen your hyphen organization. So capgemini.com /. There was a folder services that came here. Then again, once we go to the services, and when we click on data and artificial intelligence, maybe they have hosted that AI instead of artificial intelligence, which is shown as a text in front of it, but in a backend that artificial intelligence spelling is formatted as a AI. Something like when we insert a text, something like this. Let me just. So data artificial intelligence. Where is it? Tick, tick, tick. And then after data artificial intelligence, we had a transform your organization, which is transform hyphen your hyphen organization. This part, let's say if we keep it here as it is, AI, but wherein this is a UI part of it. And let's say if I insert in a backend, so this is front end part of it. But once we click on it, here is a link. Okay, file :////c, that is again a folder. Then /user, that is again a folder. /kmshift, that is again a folder. /desktop, /data hyphen and hyphen artificial hyphen intelligence. Click once to follow. Similarly, this I can keep in a backend. This we can keep in the backend, and where in front end we can make it like this also. But once we click here, it would be if you see data hyphen and hyphen AI. So that link is getting formatted in that way. So similarly here in this case. But otherwise, if you see more, let's say is careers. So again, came back to the main folder, capgemini.com/careers. Now let's say under careers. Let's say we go for corporate social responsibility. So this is basically a part of under about us. Let's say again careers. Where are jobs? Okay, let's go here. So career to career paths. Under career paths, okay, we would say student and graduates. So if you see here, capgemini.com/career/career paths. Now under career paths, let's say students and graduates. So that becomes again student, and wherever there is a space, that is becoming basically a hyphen. Students hyphen and hyphen graduates, and again a forward slash. And let's see if there is anything under students and graduates. Nothing much, but in the interest of time, I'll just take a pause. So now have we understood how is this basically a URL is getting constructed? Yes, no?
Yes, sure.
Experienced professional.
Yes, Shiva.
Yeah. Now let's say we go for experienced professionals. Live at Capgemini, and let's see if there are any jobs. Let's say join us. This has taken to other page altogether, careers and join us. Now let's say we'll give some filters. Country, India. Let's take senior software engineer. So jobs, senior software engineer, 6 to 9 years, Bangalore. Senior hyphen software engineer, and then additionally, they have taken a combination of all those stuffs. And as soon as I click on apply now, it will redirect us to completely a different application page over here. So it's getting into the success factor ATS part. But otherwise, what we're trying to explore here is basically to understand how these URLs are getting constructed, generated, or created by World Wide Web. As soon as we're going from one folder to another folder, that is basically exchanging it by forward slash, and wherever title of that particular folder or the name of that particular folder, we have a space that is getting exchanged by hyphen. And by using the same pattern is what we do basically this X-ray searches using inurl or using site or anything like that. So I'll just take a pause on this part. Dive of command will go next, but how URL is defined, formatted, or constructed. Any doubts on this? Once we understand a particular URL format of a particular page, that's it. We just keep dive on command operator URL. We just keep after in URL that particular format. Let's say take an example of LinkedIn. So my URL for myself, it would be linkedin.com/in/Shivkumar Gurram. For this person, linkedin.com/in/. Shashwat Tiwari, 1999. For this person, linkedin.com/in/ Pratik Naran. For this person, linkedin.com/in/ Krishna Sai second name some alphanumeric number. Now we know here in every URL of this individual profiles, or let's take some of the jobs also, or some of the feeds also. Some post kind of a stuff or some company pages. Let's take this company page. Okay, this is about the individual. So for individual profiles, how would LinkedIn would have made a folders? It would be more of let's take this and keep it here. So this is one individual profile. This is another individual profile. This is another individual profile. This is another individual profile. And these are some of the company pages. These are some of the groups. This is again a company pages. So yeah, here we have a three different thing. These are complete individual profiles. And then here we have some of the company pages, and here we have some of the groups. Can anyone define how the folder would be for individual profiles? It's easy. What would be the main folder? After that particular main folder, what could be those subfolders? Look at all these three. Let's say if we have to create some three folders here under linkedin.com, then how will it be? Let's take one folder here itself on the desktop. LinkedIn is a main folder. Okay. Now here, what could be the three different types of folders?
I can try, Shiv.
Hmm.
So next folder should be India, and then the other will be Shiv Kumar Gurram.
Okay. Why you think like next folder should be India? It could be IN also, no?
Yeah, that can also be there.
So under this itself, one more. What's the second folder name? What it could be? based on this use case. Company?
Yes, company.
And what could be the third folder?
Groups.
Awesome. Now let's say under company folder, we don't know which company it is. But now we know the path of company folder. All right. Now here we are taking a leverage of command inurl. Inurl colon linkedin.com / company. Okay. Now let's search. In URL linkedin.com / company. Okay, so we got some millions of results, but if you see now, we have a list of results which has linkedin.com / company / we did not give anything, so it's fetching whatever is there, like Google, Accenture, and then LinkedIn company login itself, IBM, Microsoft, Unilever, Salesforce, Amazon, then Deloitte, McKinsey, Deloitte, Infosys, Oracle, Apple. Okay, now you see here we have 10,000 plus employee. We have 10,000 plus employee. Headquarter, Wilmington. Okay, SAP. So let's, okay. So now we are saying here we have these many followers. 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 Okay, this is a part of text. When in our previous session, we saw that there are 3 different types of output. One is a URL part of it, one is a title part of it, and the second is a text part of it. So now if you see here the text part, let's say now we wanted to see some of the smaller size companies. Okay, in URL linkedin.com / company. Maybe I would say something headquartered or in a Bangalore or something like that. Bangalore, and let's say 1 to 50. Employees. We all 9 employees, company, insure technologies. We just have to understand the text format and then the searches would be right. Let's say help grow. Let's open this company. So here we have linkedin.com / company name. That is help grow. That's a company name. So now if we see all details under the about, okay, linkedin.com / company name / about. So here we have 11 to 50 employees like this. Let's take 11 to 50 employees like this. So come here, just take this. So maybe it is 0 to 9 or 0 to 10, then 11 to 50, and then 50 to 100 format it is. Now here we see a list of companies where we have around 11 to 50 employees, 11 to 50 employees, a small size companies. For 1 to 9 or 1 to 10, maybe it is a format of 1 to 9 or 1 to 10 is what I'm assuming. 1 to 10. So here we have list of 158 companies where we have 1 to 10, 1 to 10 employees. A kind of a startups. Company, basket club. And then when we go to about, so e-learning 2 to 10. So 1 to 10, 2 to 10. Because now what we have done is here, we understood that URL format for the company, how does it look like? And then additionally, we know if we see here, okay, company size, we have something like this 2 to 10 employees or 1 to 10 employees. And we have taken a benefit out of the same particular text and we have entered it over. And that's how we got the list of companies which has around 2 to 10 or 1 to 10 employees. And if we make it, okay, fine, I want something bigger, which has 10 to 50, 11 to 50 employees. Then we got an additional list where we have 11 to 50 employees. And based on this, we can always add additional keywords related to domain or anything like that. But the main thing what we have understood here, this is a URL format for identifying a list of companies. Now, similarly, if we go here, what could be the folder for this format? What could be the search for this format for the individual profiles? Anyone?
Yes, sure. Shravan this time.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be site linkedin.com.
Site we'll visit in next session. In URL
Okay.
we can cover today.
Okay. So in URL,
Mhm.
linkedin.com/in individual,
Can you repeat? In URL?
linkedin.com. I mean www.
In URL?
Colon.
Okay.
Maybe www should be included.
Not required. Just this from here itself is enough, in fact.
Okay. And / individual, I mean IN.
IN is basically for individual. It's not for India. Yes, you are correct.
And / name with alphanumeric number.
That is if I'm searching for the individual person. Let's say / Shravan Kumar. If I'm searching for individual person. What if I want to search for broad range of people who are recruiters? So we have around 6,000 people whose name is Shravan Kumar.
Yes.
Okay, now let's say we just remove this Shravan Kumar because we know that after that there are millions of profiles with a millions and billions of names. Now additionally we go, okay, now we know that this is a link to the folder for the individual profiles. And now once we get into the individual profile, we wanted the additional keywords, something like, let's say,
A recruiter.
software engineer. Software engineer or software developer. It's simple. So now we'll see all the list of profiles with software engineer or software developer. Let's take San Francisco Bay Area. We'll keep in a double quotes. And then this also will change the format. LinkedIn.com. So the reason I wanted to take for Bay Area, because we might assume that this in is for India. But in is not for India. That is basically for the individual profiles. So now we have, though we have a list of profiles from other areas, but in past, they would have worked in a San Francisco Bay Area. Like if you see here, it's already there. Because it's fetching the results from the whole LinkedIn profile. But otherwise now if you say There are people from San Francisco Bay Area. Though we have used in here, but now if you see people, we have a people from San Francisco Bay Area, software engineers or software developers. So Santa Clara, and then in past, okay, here it is, SFO. Here it is SFO, software engineer. Here it is SFO, software engineer. Here it is SFO. Now, if you see the URL, that is linkedin.com/in. Here also linkedin.com/in. Here also linkedin.com/in. Names we have not given because that's completely open-ended. Millions of people have a different millions of names. But what we have done is that we have targeted their titles and we have targeted their location. We'll further optimize it, but just for a basic understanding, what here in URL is doing when we use it in combination of additional keywords in URL and then format of the URL, that is linkedin.com/in for individuals or linkedin.com/company for companies, or let's say in URL linkedin.com/groups. Now let's say we would say we want a groups which are related to sourcing. Space itself is and. So we would say we wanted the groups which are related to sourcing and recruitment. Group sourcing in URL LinkedIn dot. It's con, not com. Spelling mistake. Okay. Still one in URL LinkedIn /groups. Let me just see. Let's remove this. On the 8 results. All right. Groups and then additionally sourcing. Okay, we are using in URL. That's the reason it's giving us a limited result. But we'll also have to refresh it. Okay, strategic sourcing. Okay, let's say sourcing or recruiting, recruitment. Boolean search. So Boolean search or sourcing or recruiting or recruitment. So let's repeat. Okay. Now we have a couple of groups. No information available. Learn why. Not really sure why there is like that. But let's see. Or maybe they would have blocked. In our next session, I'll show how to identify which pages can be X-rayed, but otherwise that's fine. This is LinkedIn is blocked. Supply chain sourcing. Okay, so that could be one reason. Okay. Yeah. Now it is coming. Okay, so this is again getting into my groups, but otherwise linkedin.com/groups, and additionally the other part is completely open-ended. So maybe for groups it's hiding now, they're trying to hide it, but otherwise for the individual profiles and for the companies we could see pretty much it's working fantastic. So linkedin.com/in Booleans are sourcing or recruiting or recruitment. Let's say Bengaluru, Karnataka, India. In URL operator, we can give anywhere. Not necessarily it should be in the beginning. So yeah, here we have a list of candidates. And someone who would have mentioned okay, so looking for new opportunities, actually looking for a job, looking for freelancing recruitment. And let's say just India. In URL linkedin.com. Looking for agencies. Looking for, okay. linkedin.com/in. Some people who would have mentioned actively looking for vendor empanelment. If you're looking for a new job, looking for temporary or permanent job, working with recruitment agencies to source candidates for a specific job. So if someone would have mentioned actively looking for an opportunity, looking for is there, let's say looking for agencies directly. Looking for agency for EIT, looking for agency or software company. Looking for agency, hi all, I'm looking for agencies. Looking for agency, freelancers, CTO, Java developer. Java developer looking for. So maybe some greater titles we can see. Now he has mentioned that somewhere that he's looking for the agencies. It could be in the activities or it could be anywhere in his profile. Or they would have mentioned it earlier, and once they got enough agencies, they would have removed it. But as I mentioned earlier also, Google remembers the data and based on that, it gives us output. All right, that session we'll have it separately when we go to some of the advanced sessions, and if we have some of the freelance recruiters or if we have some of the agency people, who are looking to do a business development and seeking for a clients. That time we'll have a special section on this, but otherwise this is just the high level. How this URL in URL command is working for us and in combination with any titles. So the main idea, the main purpose over here is basically to understand the URL pattern of every individual page, how this URL pattern, every individual page or every company page or every group page or any post page, how this URL format looks like. Based on that, we will be constructing our further searches. So I'll just take a pause. Any doubt in how the URL format is getting constructed and how is this operator in URL, a command operator in URL is working? Any questions, any doubts?
Hey Shiv, Shravan again this side.
Yes, Raman.
So since we are in the same topic, if possible, could you help us understand how we able to search in post basically? Like a couple of days ago, you even send a post where we have to search for the post. So do we need to look in feed or is there any alternative to
The
find
best way
something?
just do a post search. A short video I sent you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the best way to do a post search.
Okay, so we can directly enter the LinkedIn and search directly.
Directly, yeah.
Acha, acha. Okay. So there is no extra included.
No need. That's the best way. That's the most
Okay.
scalable and the best way to
Sure.
get the
Thank
most
you.
recent result. X-ray might give you the result, but it could be really old results.
Got it.
Because in LinkedIn itself, you have those particular, what we say, additional filters.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right. I'll just take a pause. And about the in title as well, in
Hello.
text, we'll cover up in depth by tomorrow. But for in URL or URL construction, please do let me know. Yeah, someone has some doubt. Ashish, yeah.
Yes. So can you please help me with this in URL command on LinkedIn? How to source through LinkedIn any profile?
Okay. There are two types of searches. One is direct search and one is indirect search. Here you can't do in URL because LinkedIn itself is a website. On Google, we are coming and using the URL format of LinkedIn and searching here. Directly in LinkedIn, we can't use because LinkedIn is already a portal. Here you can do a direct searches. But wherein in Google, that's an indirect search. You are understanding the URL format of the particular website. It could be LinkedIn, it could be Facebook, it could be Twitter, it could be Quora, it could be GitHub, it could be Stack Overflow, or whichever the site. So we are understanding the URL formats of that, and we're searching in a search engine of Google.
Okay. Okay.
In LinkedIn, LinkedIn itself is a portal. You don't have to do an X-ray in a portal itself. You can directly search here itself. So that will cover the differences of it, the difference of searching in a portal and the difference of doing an X-ray search, maybe in next session. That's a very good call out. Let me just add that.
And if you just wanted to know, like if I want to search on LinkedIn, all the profile I want to segregate in one column, or like I just want to source what all the profiles open to work profile with 6 to 12 years of experience, specifically a Java developer or Java full stack developer. So how to apply that open to work profile? How to source this open to work profile all?
It's all about the keywords. If you're using a free LinkedIn version, it's all about the keyword. We'll have to just use additional keywords. As I mentioned, maybe next session we'll cover on doing a direct and differences of direct and indirect search. Let me just add it over here. Maybe tomorrow we'll cover this. Maybe for your answer, definitely we'll cover tomorrow. And even for open for new opportunities, that's again additional just the keyword search. Directly in the LinkedIn, we can perform and we can get it.
Actually, last month, I believe I had asked in this sourcing express question how to source profile on LinkedIn open to work. So somebody has sent the link, but I could not able to apply because I were not aware about this in URL or in anchor command. So just wanted to know if you can demonstrate this, then it would be
See,
helpful.
if you're searching in LinkedIn, it's more of just keywords. Now we need to understand how many different ways of
Open to work.
open to work person would have written, and you come up with a long list like looking for new opportunities, open for new opportunities, seeking new opportunities. Come up with a long list and just
Exploring new
simply
opportunity.
search. So this is within what we say within portal itself, we are searching. So now people must have written this open for new opportunities in 10 different formats. So you need to think how user can write this open for new opportunities in a various format and come up with those list of keywords and give it over here. That's it. And there are some results like open for new opportunities is matching, that will come. And it's still a free version of LinkedIn. Open for new opportunities and all. And similarly, as I told you, you have to think in a user point of view, how this user might write this open for new opportunities or seeking new opportunities, looking for new job, all those things. You have to come up with a long list of such keywords and just put it over here one by one, and you'll be able to get it.
And suppose if I want to apply on this LinkedIn one key string like
Shiv, I have a question.
Java full stack developer or full stack developer, then and 6 to 8, then and at the in bracket open to new opportunity or looking for new opportunity or open to work this. So would it be possible to get the result, or it will stick only for 6 or 8 operators? It would be 5 operators, I believe. Yes.
Yes, up to 5 operator, you can't go beyond that. Even LinkedIn is restricting below 5 operators also. Sometimes I'm experiencing where we just give 2 or 3 operators, it's restricting. So that's in a direct version of LinkedIn. But if you go to the LinkedIn recruiter, pretty much you can go up to 300 keywords.
Acha, operators as well, right? Operators as well. In
Operators as
LinkedIn
well.
recruiter.
Operators as well. Wherein in a free version of LinkedIn, there's a different session of diving on linkedin.com. All these things would be covered in that session. But for answering now, how do you search for new opportunities? You can just simply search for open for new opportunities and go for additional filters and search it.
Shiv, I have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Once, say you get this list of candidates, many a times or majority of the times, they do not have included any contact details. So the only way to reach out is to establish a connect here with them. In the future sessions, not necessarily tomorrow, but in the future sessions, will you also help us or guide us as to what are the ways in which we can try and see if the candidates are available
That's pretty much covered over here.
try and get their contact details. Is
Yeah,
that possible?
that's available in future part. That's pretty much covered. Okay, email extraction, contact details, seeking import and export data miner, ID on basiclinkedin.com, then finding email IDs. Yeah, Ashish, here it is. ID on basiclinkedin.com and explore some unintentional features on a LinkedIn. So whatever you have a doubt today, this will be covered in this session.
Okay.
So let's go step by step.
Yes,
Otherwise, it will create a way lot of confusion. So I'm not going in depth right immediately. So go as per agenda. First, understand what inurl is doing. Then we go slowly over there.
Okay. And just one question. This in anchor command will be used later, right? We will be covering
I
later.
never used in anchor, honestly speaking. But as there is a discussion about in anchor, and we'll see how in anchor is working, we'll do a tidy on that as well, maybe in the next session.
Because I was saying that I got one answer that I was asking open to work. So site:/linkedin.com/in anchor :open to new or in anchor open to work. This is the key string that I had got last time when I had Mike Santero. Yeah.
Absolutely. Just be patient. What I'm saying is just be patient. First, understand one operator one by one. If we jump in, it will create a way lot of confusion. Then basics wouldn't be clear. And we'll have a sourcing text in another 1 or 2 sessions. Then we'll see.
No problem. Thank you so much.
Okay. So that's the reason I'm saying just be patient. Just stick to today's agenda and just try to understand whether today's agenda is clear or not. Once it is today's one thing is clear, then we go for the next. So it's all thing is covered over here. Just in case if you have doubt that something is not covered over here, please let me know. I would be happy to add, and we would be happy to proceed for the next steps accordingly. As you mentioned, like how would you use inurl in LinkedIn? Then definitely it's important for us to understand a differences between direct and indirect search. So that is something we'll cover it tomorrow. So in title, in text, in anchor, not much. Maybe tomorrow quickly we can cover it. But today, majority of stuff on in URL. Any further doubts or any further clarity we needed? How a URL is getting constructed? What are the various use cases when there is a space for the name of the folder, and how that space is getting exchanged while it is getting into the URL? Something like that here. docs.google.com/document is basically one folder. /d again basically one folder. / this entire stuff is predefined by Google based on the number of docs coming in Google. So I can definitely assume there are millions and billions of docs if I just go with these characters. All right, I'll just take a pause. Any further doubts on in URL? In URL and how URL is getting constructed. About in title, in text, we do a similar dive by tomorrow. Otherwise, it would be remaining half session. We may not be able to cover. Dive in the sense a proper dive. Any further doubts for dive on command operator in URL and how URL is defined, formatted, or constructed? If no, then that's it for today. If you have any further doubts, feel free to stay back, or you can please drop off.
Thanks, Shiv.
Hope the basic concept of URL, how URL is getting constructed, and how command operator in URL we can leverage is clear.
Yeah.
Yes, Shiv, thank you.
All right. Yeah, fine, sure.
So, just wondering, can we use asterisk operator while using in URL?
Asterisk operator in URL.
Yeah,
I don't think so, but let's explore it.
When you're searching for agency or something else, so
Wait a second.
can we use that as an option?
Wait a second. Asterisk is there, but when we are exploring asterisk, then we'll explore during that time. So asterisk has a separate session altogether. Here it is. When and where to use wildcard, that is asterisk versus percentage. Maybe in this session we'll cover it. So
Yep.
this is correlated.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Yep, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So every operator, even asterisk or URL or / or hyphen, everything is step by step covered. As I'm saying, let's go step by step. And if you have questions, feel free to ask. Okay. If I see that is not covered in our future session, I'll try making sure that we're adding it so that we're going step by step, step by step. I'm not denying it that we would not cover or we would not answer in this session. But if we answer in this session, then the concept will be miscomplicated.
Yes, agree, Shiv. Yes, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So that's a step-by-step process to get the basics stronger. But otherwise, that doubt of confusion would be always there. Okay, but otherwise, if you see pretty much when and where to use wildcard is covered, and then there would be again a diary for it. Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Thanks, Shiv. Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
So the basics of inurl and URL construction is clear. Once again, I'm asking, please say yes, no, not at all.
Yeah, yes, Shiv,
Yes, Shiv. So
it's
far
clear.
it's clear everything.
Here, Shiv.
Okay, then. Chalo then. Thank
So,
you.
Shiv, this is Mohit. Just one thing. So this is the first time I'm joining this session today. So just want to know, like, we have these sessions every weekend, Saturday, Sunday?
Every weekend, every Saturday, Sunday. If you're joining for the first time, in the event, in the link you have seen, there's a link to YouTube videos. Just go through those videos. That link is specially covering videos only for this particular session, which has been going on from last couple of weeks, from last 3 weeks. This is the 4th week.
Oh, okay. So I will go through the links and we'll cover all those videos.
Let me, I think it is here in the invite also. I just leave that. Every invite, here it is.
Okay.
Okay, so you have it everything step by step, episode 1, episode 1, episode 1, part 1, part 2, part 3, then episode 2, then
Okay.
EP3, EP3, EP4 is also there. I guess I missed somewhere, or maybe I did not mention the name correctly. So it's everything is updated over here. You can refer to this doc step by step. Everything is updated, so that next week's session would be easier for you to understand.
Ele
In this
chamava
one,
pelo
you
ali
just
quando
talk
pelo
about-
dar tava na TV para tika ne
Understood.
hal alam cham halam ta bala
Sure, sir. I'll go through them
ha na
and
para
we'll join
yari
back tomorrow.
tika nuksan na the na tadi kare buje hal tika alam
All right then. Fine, Mohit. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Thank you, Shiv.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.